Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Billy Napier, the Florida Gators, kicking off fall camp. And look, the frustrating part, at least in my point of view, is all anybody wants to talk about is the DJ Lagway injury. And I ain't acting like that's a non-story, but it kind of has to do with how I felt the national media has treated this team the whole entire offseason. And that is it's just a football team with a really good quarterback. It's not the case. It's one of the more complete teams that you see in the entire country going into 2025. And Dill, I go out of my way and say, might be one of the more talented teams as well. When you look at guys that will be going to the NFL draft after this year, I don't think there's going to be many teams that are producing more NFL draft picks than Florida after the 2025 year. So I get DJ Lagway is the story. The boys are going to be pivoting a little bit, talking about some guys that, some surprise standouts, some young faces that are standing out, and then kind of calling our shot a little bit on some other players on this roster. I'm fired up to get into. We got a few names that I think are really important to Florida that you're starting to hear some feedback about. Before we get into it, as always, the Florida fans, appreciate you guys. And y'all already know how high the boys are on Florida rolling into 2025. This football team, it's going to be a blast to talk about over the next couple of weeks and months. And the amount of support many of y'all have shown the boys throughout the offseason, been amazing. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Dill, first storyline for me, Amir Jackson getting a little praise from the coaching staff. And look, is Amir Jackson going to be a starting tight end for Florida in 2025? You don't really know because you don't really know what Amir Jackson is as a football player.
Well, and the thing that comes up is Florida's tight ends are going to need to be able to block at a really high level.
Yeah.
Because as much as DJ Lagway, it's maybe quarterback-led team. This is a team that wants to run the ball.
Yeah.
They have two really good running backs, a really good offensive line. If you're a tight end playing for Florida, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You need to be able to block, or it's going to be really hard to get on the field because I don't know that Florida has a slot for that jumbo slot type role. Right? It's you got enough mouths to feed in that wide receivers room. I think you need to be able to play in line, and that's probably the question. Can Jackson do that right now?
Yeah, and the reason he intrigues me the way he does is because when you look at pass catching ability, Amir Jackson has the highest ability as a pass catcher in the tight end room. And I feel like I've been really critical of Hayden Hansen and critical of guys like Tony Livingston. That's not me saying those are bad football players, but I don't think either of those tight ends are striking fear into the opposing defense in terms of what they can do working downfield.
You probably had a little limitation. I mean, it felt like it was a lot of stuff to the flat, a lot of stuff kind of within 10 yards maybe. It's not bad for your tight end to be able to run around down the field 20 plus yards and be able to have the speed.
It's not bad, Dill. I would argue that it adds another element to this Florida offense that they probably have missed over the last couple of years before obviously they had Kyle Pitts who could do it, but outside of that, it's been an element they've missed. Now, here's one of the questions that I have for Billy Napier, and this is nobody's really talking about it. Billy Napier as the offensive play caller here, he's got all the ingredients now. Can he dial it up? And one of the things we know Billy Napier loves to do, 2 tight end sets. I'll ask you this question. Do you think you see as many 2 tight end sets in 2025, considering how I think loaded the wide receiver room is going into 2025?
I don't think you can go a ton of 2 tight end. You can definitely do it. I'm not saying you can't, but who are you taking off the field in this
That's my question.
I feel like you got 9 guys who you almost want to play this year. So I don't want to pull Vernell Brown off the field.
I don't want to pull J. Mike off the field. I don't want to pull Dallas Wilson off the field, and I certainly don't want to pull Eugene Wilson off the field. That's kind of where I sit. And if you want to run 2 tight end sets, one of those guys has to be on the sideline. Going back to my Amir Jackson comment, what you've heard a little bit is, hey, the body's coming along. He's a guy that played wide receiver at the high school ranks, never lined up in line. 0 experience as an inline run blocker, already came in undersized. So you're hearing that maybe that is starting to come along. Is he going to be ready and trustworthy enough to be an inline blocker the way Billy Napier needs him to? Is the question. I'm not sure if we'll get it. That to me is a storyline because you look at this Florida offense and adding a little bit more onto it. if they can grab some legitimate receiving threat and receiving production from that room, I think it's big. And I think Amir
Especially with the way they want to run play action. Like, that's the big thing. I feel like tight ends and play action can be a real weapon. And
Agreed.
you said it. Like, you just didn't have enough of a threat from the tight end spot.
And look, maybe I'm wrong. And maybe, you know, Hayden Hansen and Tony Livingston can take this step as pass catchers. Again, they're not bad pass catchers. You know, Hayden Hansen, one of the more reliable pass catchers on this team, just lacks a little bit of juice from an athleticism standpoint. We'll see what we hear from Amir Jackson throughout the rest of fall camp, because he's one of those guys that like he might flash a little bit and feel like, can you consistently show up every single day in practice and show you can get it done in line in the SEC? Dill, let's go to the defensive side of the football. LJ McCrae. And Dill, very similar to Amir Jackson. Like, LJ McCrae was like, hey, the reason he was a 5-star recruit was not because he was the most dominant football player at the high school ranks, although he was pretty dang dominant. It was the traits. I think most Florida fans who follow this program closely and follow the recruiting trail closely probably knew it wasn't going to be year one for this kid. We're hearing all the right things, making the transition to the jack linebacker spot, which I think is intriguing as well. Here's what I'm excited for. He'd be a little bit more of a presence in the run. So I look at George Gums and say, hey, really dang good pass rusher. Maybe not elite against the run, although he certainly could take that step. Well, LJ McCrae, it's a big jack. It's a big and athletic jack, 80-plus inch wingspan. You know, maybe he's that guy that you have on first and second down that can be a hammer against the run at that position. You're hearing all the right things from LJ McCrae, a guy that when I close my eyes and envision a Florida team that's competing for national championship, you're probably getting some production from my guy, LJ McCrae, in 2025.
Because I still think you're wondering who's going to be that third and fourth guy. And Cam James is another guy who I think probably needs to be more consistent and in like what you'd like to see just more impact from. I think he's like been a good enough player for sure, but has he been able to like show those like flashes of like real dominance? I don't think quite enough.
Can I say this? I just don't know if that's Cam James the player. Like, I think he's just a solid piece that's really good against the run and can give you 20-plus quality snaps. When I'm envisioning like the difference makers, it's George Gums, it's Tyreek Sapp, and it's probably LJ McCrae when you're talking about some of those edge defenders. I'm just not sure if that's ever what Cam James is going to be.
Well, and that's why I think LJ McCrae is important, because they probably do need another guy in that group to like, again, be deep enough and be like not just deep, but have another guy who can come in and
Jaden Woods, man. Like I loved him, freaking loved this kid coming out of high school. When he flipped to Florida, that one kind of flew under the radar because Florida was damn hot on the trail. And so you kind of like lost track of all the commitments. He's a freaky athlete that has come into Florida, has shown he's ready to contribute year one. He's already like one of the strongest players on the football team as an 18-year-old kid. It's hard to ignore the buzz that you hear from Jaden Woods, and Dill, it's the trifecta. The coaches are giving him praise. The other players are giving him praise. Whoever the inside sources are, they be giving him praise too. He's pushing LJ McCrae, which is what you want, Dill. It feels like Florida finally has that competitive depth that Billy Napier's been looking for. Here's the last one, and I would argue one of the most important players to monitor in fall camp, Jamari Lyons. And that's not because he's going to be a top 20 NFL draft pick like Caleb Banks is probably going to be, like Tyreek Sapp has the chance to be. He's going to be your starting nose tackle, right? Important for a couple of different reasons. One, we're pretty thin at that position, right? Jamari Lyons, and then I think we're going to be able to trust Mekhi Borio, but I'm not positive how much he's a big boy. Like, how many snaps can he give you a game? Jamari Lyons, the guy that we needed to hear good things about in fall camp. Coming off the injury, sounds like we are really big. And here's the other thing, Dill, avoiding the amount of times Caleb Banks has to play nose for you. You want to keep him at 3-tech because that's where he's going to have that game-wrecking ability. Jamari Lyons, hearing good things about him, fully back, healthy, full go in fall camp. Monster news for Florida.
Because he might be the most important player on this team, and that's kind of judged like obviously DJ Lagway better player, maybe George Gums, Tyreek Sapp better.
In terms of the names that are not nationally recognized, This guy's monsterly
He
important.
needs to be productive because I just don't know where, like, again, McCrae, Borio, Tavares Brown, like,
Yeah.
Tavares Brown, you've really not seen play barely at all.
I don't trust him to play right now.
And it's like,
Yeah.
again, McCrae, Borio, I like, but I don't love him as a starter right now. So
No.
Jamari Lyons needs to be able to make it happen and give you like 30 to 40 a game.
Yes. And when you said productive, you mean snaps wise, in good play wise. He's not going to be a guy that goes for 8 sacks and 12 TFLs. You got that guy in Caleb Banks. You got that guy in Tyreek Sapp. You have your game records, but we need to nose that can do the dirty work and deal 6'3", 320, like what the body's looking like. Coming off the injury, you're hearing really good things from him, and that's really important for Florida. All right, Dale, call your shot. Let's start. I mean, okay, I'm going to say this. Call your shot on a freshman, and we already mentioned Jaden Woods, and I'm going to say you can't mention Dallas Wilson too, so I hope you're prepared another answer. What's a freshman that you think can surprise a lot of people, not only in fall camp, but as we work into 2025?
I think Ben Hanks. I'm kind of looking at him as a guy like another position group that, again, Jameer Grimsley, like, what is he going to be coming off the injury? Cormani McClain, like, are you going to get consistency from him?
I love it.
It sounds like you're going in the right direction, but in terms of like depth and giving you a little flexibility in that room, I think Ben Hanks needs to be ready to play.
Especially considering some of the, like Devin Moore, DeJohn Johnson. It's not like they've been super healthy. Even Cormani McClain, like they've gotten really banged up in the cornerback room. You hope they can stay healthy because it should be a really good unit. There's
the top end is like awesome.
And
I think the secondary can be so good, but
there's a lot of realities where Ben Hanks has to play for you. To me, I like the answer. To me, he's becoming less important as I hear better things about Cormani McClain. Because, before go back to like spring practice when you didn't really know what Cormani McClain was going to be still. It's like, well, Ben Hanks is freaking important. And as you continue to hear Cormani McClain's like a playable guy that can give you some really good snaps, maybe the importance is kind of dwindled. He's still going to be a really good football player and probably he's going to be in your 2 deep as a true freshman. Got to have him ready to play. Dill, I'm going to go, and this is kind of cheating because it's a big name, but I do want to give some love to him, man. Vernell Brown. Look, if you asked me who's more, and I don't even know if I agree with this, but I'm going to say it anyways, like day one ready coming out of high school, I probably would have said Vernell over Dallas Wilson. Dallas Wilson's a little bit more physically gifted with the size-speed combo. Dude, Vernell Brown is a route runner, insanely polished. And then here's the other thing. He's so easy to get involved. He's going to be very similar to what Eugene Wilson was a freshman. Is like, don't overthink it. Just get him the football in space. You want to have DJ Lagway do some of the simple stuff better and give him some easier answers. It felt like at times it was DJ Lagway having to put on the Superman cape, of which we know he can put on, but we want to see a little bit more just consistent efficiency from this offense. Be a little bit less reliant on those explosive plays. Love a quarterback that can provide that. We don't want to ask him to do it every single snap. If Vernell Brown's one of your guys, he's a guy that end around, screens, quick game, give him the football in space, he will do the rest. He's a guy that he's overlooked because Dallas Wilson in the spring game he had, and Dallas Wilson's 6'3", 205 and runs a 10-9 100-meter dash. Dallas Wilson's flashier. Vernell Brown is really, really freaking good. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. What about a breakout, Dale? I'll give you one that we're probably sleeping on. What about Aaron Childs? Right? I mean, he might be is he the most gifted linebacker, maybe outside of Pup Howard in this room? I mean, Miles Graham's really good, but Miles Graham's really good between the ears. I like Jaden Robinson a lot too, but I feel like we ain't talking enough about what Aaron Childs can be for Florida in 2025.
And I think, the simple fact of the matter is he didn't play over those other 3 guys. It did feel like Aaron Childs was the 4th guy in that group. So,
yeah,
again, you got them all back. Miles Graham, to me, I still think he's the best.
Can I say this? Because I agree with you. Miles Graham was awesome as a freshman. I think Aaron Childs is in position to take the biggest step. He was not a guy that enrolled in for spring last year, so he came in the summer. Freaky athlete. And you see some of the testing numbers that he put up in summer workouts. If he gets right between the ears, that's a guy that I feel like nobody's really talking about that I think could have a massive impact on this defense. I think all 4 linebackers are going to play plenty for Florida in 2025.
Oh yeah,
You got a name? You got a name here? I didn't
probably
mean to put
probably Brian Taylor for me. He's one I'm looking at. I mean a JUCO
yeah,
guy. I feel
yeah,
like he's kind of showed it as a pass rusher a little bit. I feel like
agreed.
the issue's been like against teams that really want to get physical. He
Yeah,
feels like not sturdy enough necessarily right now. But you give him another year to like get to the size that he probably needs to because he's a little bit thin. I feel like last year
yes,
he's another one of those like really important players.
yeah.
I feel like they're gonna need him to be dependable to
Well,
play a decent.
because it has the conversation of, look, you want to get the best out of Caleb Banks. You don't want to play him 60 snaps a game. Goes back to the conversation. And Dill, I'm blanking on this name. I hope you can help me out. Maybe you can. Gavon Dexter, boom, didn't need you because I knew you weren't going to pick me up. Go back to Gavon Dexter. It felt like he had to play so much football because Florida had no depth. And he was such a good football player, but you weren't able to maximize him because he had to play 60 snaps a game. You don't want that to happen to Caleb Banks. Well, if you don't want that to happen, like Brendan Bett, Brian Taylor, they got to play ball. I agree. Brendan Bett, very important too. Interested to hear what we hear out of fall camp from him as well. All right, Dill, that'll do it. Kind of a little, just a roundtable conversation on Florida. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.